Welcome everyone. This is Rob Sanders with Simplilearn and welcome. Today we're going to talk about email marketing tutorial. So buckle up and let's get started with email marketing tutorial. And so let's start out asking the question, why email marketing? So Linda is the owner of an e-commerce company. And basically she isn't able to take her leads, the leads she's collecting per day, per month, and convert them into customers. Okay, so customers sign up, but they don't buy her product. So she's left scratching her head wondering what to do. So how's she gonna solve the problem of converting the leads she gets into paying customers? Well, look no further than email marketing. So you can boost your sales funnel with the help of email marketing. So email marketing leads to email campaigns that lead to website visits that can lead to product purchasing. Email marketing's also it's a very good way to generate a high return on investment. So Linda thinks this is too good to be true. You're telling me it's a very efficient way to generate a return on my investment? How expensive is email marketing? Well, email marketing is neither expensive or time consuming. That's the beauty of email marketing. And so Linda is now very interested. We've piqued her interest. She wants us to explain email marketing to her in detail. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about email marketing in detail. So for everyone out there listening, what's in it for you? Why are you going to invest your time in listening to Simplilearn and me talk about email marketing? Because we're going to talk about everything there is about email marketing in today's webinar. So what is it? For those that aren't really familiar with the intricacies of email marketing, we're going to talk about how to set up email marketing. We're going to discuss all the benefits of email marketing. We're going to get into A/B testing. We're going to get into the automation of emails, the types of emails, how to engage new users, and we're going to give you a demo. So there's a lot going on in this webinar. Like I said, buckle up and let's get started and talk about what is email marketing. So as I mentioned to Linda, it's an efficient way to convert leads into sales. Why? Because we can send personalized emails to a specific audience, a targeted audience. If somebody's interested in our product, we can reach out to them via email. It can also be used to remarket pre-qualified leads. So anybody who's pre-qualified, we can go ahead and communicate with them as well. So email marketing is very effective at different stages in the funnel. Okay, so when I say funnel, customer life cycle. So we have awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, and advocacy. Okay, so let's talk about each one of these parts of the funnel or customer life cycle, if you will. So let's start with awareness at the very top. So email marketing allows customers to recognize their problems, after which you can educate them on how your brand can solve them. Okay, just like any other marketing channel, somebody's looking for something, a need of something, we can come to the rescue. In this case, we're going to come to the rescue with email, and we can go ahead and educate them on what their need is and how we can collaborate with them, help them, educate them, solve their problems with our product. Okay, so that's what email is going to do. We're going to communicate with them via email, and we're going to bring awareness to the problem by solving the problem. That's what email is good for. Okay, good for generating awareness for our brand. For example, we can share a newsletter with our customers. So if we're running a cosmetics company, we can basically educate them on the 5 important skincare products that everyone should have. Okay, so we can get them to click on the call to action to learn more. So if somebody's having some skincare issues or not sure what products to buy, an email can cover that. Okay, the next step in the customer life cycle is consideration. So customers focused on searching for relevant products and compares the products with similar ones. Okay, so they're definitely looking, they're a little further in the process. They're educated, they know what they're looking for, so we can really hit them with the right email. We can send a relevant email to promote our product. Okay, discover that perfect moisturizer for your skin, that perfect skin moisturizer. Smooths, hydrates, and contains SPF 20. So we got the perfect product for that person who's further along the funnel and really is ready to purchase that product. So we can hit that person up with the perfect messaging. Let's talk about purchase, the next step in the life cycle. With purchase, we can send an email that encourages that customer to purchase our product by offering them something, okay, by giving an offer. For example, we can give a discount. Discounts always tend to work. So that moisturizer that particular customer was considering buying, well, they can move from consideration to purchasing because we're going to offer them a discount they can't refuse. Okay, so it could be for a specific date. Okay, it could be something that's going to get them excited to buy the product. 20% off a moisturizer is pretty good deal, and especially if that percentage off is better than the other products they were considering buying. So getting somebody that extra incentive to purchase the product goes a long way via email. Okay, we want to take that next step in the life cycle and nurture our relationship with customers to ensure they're loyal. Okay, if they've already purchased, how do we get them to purchase again? That's retention. We want to retain our customers. We want to get them back to buy the same product or similar products or completely different products in our inventory. So what do? We're going to send an email. We're going to send an email to active customers. Okay, we're going to give them an offer just for them, exclusively just for them. In this example, we're going to give them a combo pack, a facial kit at just $39 and get a sunscreen worth $10 for free. Okay? So you can come up with all sorts of different combinations on offers. The key is the offer is exclusively just for those who you want to target and retain as customers. Because if you just get somebody to purchase once, it's not going to work. Those people have already taken that step in the relationship where they trust your product, they purchase your product. Now you want to go ahead and treat that customer special by giving them an exclusive offer. And then what we want to do is advocacy. Last step in that customer lifestyle. We want to convert that active customer into brand advocates. Okay? We want that customer to talk about our brand for us. We want them to promote it and talk about it with their friends. So for example, we want to send an email to those customers to promote our products. Okay, so for example, we could say, hey, the sales of our products for this particular day or for this month is going to go to our favorite nonprofit. It could be educating poor children or cleaning up plastic in the ocean or saving animals. We want to be able to get them to speak on our behalf and say, look, guys, this is a really good company. They're offering me products exclusively. They've offered me discounts in the past. They have good products. They have a lot of different products. And on top of all that, they help. They help the environment. They help the needy. Okay, they care. And so we can go ahead and provide a call to action for these customers that are loyal to our brand and have them share the email with their friends to spread the word on what we're trying to accomplish for our nonprofit, or if anything, just get them to promote it. Maybe give them a discount for every friend that they get to buy our product. Okay, it doesn't have to necessarily be just sharing with friends. It can be that extra incentive of giving them a discount if they do share with friends and their friends buy. Okay, so this is the customer life cycle and examples of different emails that you can use at every step along the way in the life cycle. So let's talk about email marketing setup. So email marketing setup, we have a series of steps that we need to go through in order to get our email set up to go ahead and send out to our target audience. And that first step is we want to identify that target audience and create segments. So if you've taken and listened to some of my webinars in the past about Google Analytics, about Google Ads, we talk about segmenting. So it's about targeting a specific audience. That's what segmenting is, taking a piece of the whole. So we don't want to email all users on our list, all customers. Maybe we want to target a specific segment. Okay, so we want to be able to identify that segment. Who is that segment? Is it somebody who, or is it a group of people, or, a partial list of our customers who purchase a specific product? I would say so, versus say our entire list of customers, because our entire list of customers can purchase a number of different products. And so by targeting a specific segment of our audience or our customer base, we can hone in on the message. So if they all have something in common, like they all bought that moisturizer, then we can go ahead and be specific with our messaging. Then we want to create campaigns and set an appropriate call to action. Okay, so what is it that we want to say to these people, this segment of users? Then once you create that campaign and set up the messaging and call to action, we want to test the email before we actually click send. This is a very important step. Test that email before we send. And then when we send the campaigns immediately, or we can schedule a time. So my advice here is always schedule a time. You want to be able to figure out the best time to send that email. And then once the email is sent, whenever that is, you want to be able to analyze performance. And there are some key metrics that you want to hone in on when we talk about email marketing. And some of those are open rates, click-through rates, okay, response rate. Okay, so we want to be able to hone in on certain key metrics when it comes to emails. So here's what we need to do: create our list, add contacts to our list, create our campaign. Okay, we want to select the list, choose a format, modify the template, and then send the email campaign. So these are some basic checklists that you want to do. So let me give you an example and go to MailChimp. So if I'm in MailChimp, basically I'm going to create a campaign. Okay, so it's an email that I'm going to work with, and you can see with MailChimp I have some examples here: regular, automated, plain text, or A/B test. I want to do a regular email. Hey, I'm just going to call it test, and I'm going to click begin. Okay, so we want to add our recipients. Who are we going to add? So we're going to choose our audience. Okay, so we're just going to choose a sample test for now. Okay, we can personalize the to field if we want. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to call people by their first name, their last name, their first and last name, or we can customize it. Just go with first name to keep it a little bit personal. Okay. Then we have the subject line here. So it's all about messaging, right? So whoever we're targeting, we want to be able to add a message. So we're just going to say, and subject line is very key here. So you want to have a subject line that's really going to resonate with your audience. So whoever that segment audience is, we want to make sure that the subject line is going to resonate with them so that they can open up that email. Okay, so we'll just say, have any good day. We can make it better. Just as an example, something that's going to be attention grabbing, if you will. Okay. You can always tweak the subject line. In fact, my advice is always do A/B testing on the subject line, so you can do 2 different subject lines with one email to figure out which one has better open rates. And then with MailChimp, we can go ahead and design the content of our email. So we're going to click design email. Okay, we can select a template. We have some saved templates already, okay? Or we can go with a theme. So MailChimp has a lot of good offers. Now there's a lot of different email platforms out there. I particularly like MailChimp because of this very feature. They have a lot of good themes here, a lot of different layouts that you can use. Okay, so we're going to showcase that product. Okay, and that's the template we're going to use here. So here we go. We're going to showcase our product. We're going to add that photo of our product here, and we're going to go ahead and put some nice messaging in here with some nice call to action. We can put our logo up here for branding. Again, we can edit the content here. So based on that segmented list, in this example, for Linda's company, maybe she wants to target those folks who bought her moisturizer before, her face moisturizer, and she wants to retarget them. She wants to go ahead and say, hey, you guys have bought my product before. Check out this new face moisturizer that we have to offer. So whatever the case is, you want to be able to plan that out ahead of time. You want to be able to plan out who your audience is. You want to plan out your messaging, and you want to go ahead and set up the messaging based on that audience. So once you have the messaging in place, voila, you're more or less ready to go. Okay, so Once you get the content all set up, you can schedule that campaign, okay? And you can also add a social post to your campaign, so we can share that information on social. So email integrates nicely with social media. So again, that's pretty much what you need to do here. You need to really think about who it is you want to target. Choose those recipients, okay? Customize it, make it personal. Create a good subject line. In fact, create 2 subject lines, and then align that content with that audience. Okay, that's really the checklist here. So again, we look at this checklist, creating our list. Who do we want to send the email to? So we added our contacts to the list. We set up the campaign. We selected the list. We chose the format. We modified it with a good subject line, with some good messaging, and then we're going to schedule that email campaign. So that's the checklist to go off of, okay? So remember, identify target audience and create segments. And then you create that campaign. And in our case, we did set an appropriate call to action. Get shopping, basically. We want people to shop our new moisturizer. Key thing here is before we send it out, we want to test that email. Once everything looks good, we're going to, I would advise schedule it, but you can always send the email when you're ready. I would schedule it at the appropriate time and day. Okay, so in this case, you don't want to send an email out on a Friday afternoon, okay? When people are getting ready for the weekend. You certainly don't want to send an email out over the weekend because you're not going to have many people look and open it. And you probably don't want to send the email out on a Monday morning when most people are getting into the office from a long weekend and catching up on emails. So from my experience, Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on your time zone, I would always say, late morning, early afternoon tends to be a good time, but that's why we have performance. That's why we can analyze performance. We want to be able to see what the open rates are and the click-through rates are so that we can make adjustments for future emails. So let's talk about some of those metrics. So when you do send that email, we're going to look at that open rate. And so open rate is the percentage of the total number of recipients who open an email. So if we basically, send it to X amount of people minus those emails that have bounced. So let's just say, we sent it to 102 people. Okay. For simplicity's sake, 2 of those emails bounced. Okay. So that means that we've had 100 net 100 emails that received the email. And let's just say 75 opened the email. Okay. We wrote such a good subject line that they opened it. Okay, that's 75%. That's a 75% open rate. And that's how you measure open rate. Click-through rate. Okay, so if they open it, we hope that they click on something. And so for all of those emails that were delivered, okay, in this case 100, how many actually did click on our call to action? So let's just say 75 opened it out of the 100. That's a 75% open rate, but of the 100 that actually were delivered, let's just say we had 25 that actually clicked on the call to action. And so that's 25%. Okay. And so you want to be able to measure not only who opens it, but who clicks on the call to action. So that's click-through rate for email marketing. And then response rate. So it's the percentage of the total recipients who clicked on a link of your email campaign and actually completed the action. So in our example, we're trying to get people to click on the shopping call to action and get them to purchase. So we sent 100 emails, and of the 25 who actually clicked, we had 10 who actually took action and purchased. So 10 divided by 100 is 10%. So you have open rate, click-through rate, and response rate. Those are some key metrics for email marketing. Okay, the first step is you got to get people to open it. That's where the subject line is so important. Click-through rate, that's where the messaging and call to action is so important. We want to get people to click on that call to action. And then the response rate, we want them to buy. So those are 3 key metrics related to email marketing. So let's take a look at an example. If we go back to our email marketing platform, MailChimp in this example, we're going to take a look at some reports. So most email marketing platforms have reporting functionality built in. And so in this case, what we want to do is we want to be able to take a look at the open rate, click-through rates of the emails that have been sent out previously. So here we could see our April email coupon versus tools promo. Okay, so we've had basically, opens and clicks. So 14% open rate, 1.4% click-through rate. Okay, so the March email that went out did a little bit better, 19% open, 2.5% on the click-through rate. So here we could see how many people actually were sent, how many opened it, and how many clicked. So this is MailChimp, makes it very easy for us to measure open and click rates. And then we can measure by revenue as well based on the campaign. So that's measuring the response rate. So it's all built in. So most email marketing platforms have open rate and click rate already built into the functionality, so you can measure those two metrics against any email. So let's talk about the benefits of email marketing. So what are some of the benefits? Well, we've already mentioned to Linda that it's cost effective. It's time saving, real-time marketing, less intrusive, builds credibility, increases visibility and brand awareness, and it's an easy way to track ROI. These are all the benefits for email marketing, and we're going to go talk about some of these now. So basically, when we talk about cost effective, some email marketing platforms charge based on the number of users who you send the email to. Time saving, well, you saw how quick it took me to set up that email campaign. The key is figuring out who you want to send it to. When we talk about real-time marketing, we're sending this email out basically in real time, trying to meet our customers' needs at the right time. It's less intrusive because we can customize the emails. Okay, we can, as you saw, I can put first name in there to make it more personal. So when something's more personal, it's less intrusive, especially if it's a segment that already knows your brand. Okay, builds credibility. Hey, we gain credibility when we offer exclusive offers to repeat customers, or, try and build advocacy by working with nonprofits. Okay, it increases visibility and brand awareness. Why? Because, we could send our email out to a large group of people, and that's a good way to generate brand awareness. And as you saw, we can easily measure, not only open rates, click rates, but ROI. So how many people from that email went on and purchased? So we can measure that. It's very easy to measure email. So let's move into A/B testing. So A/B testing is key to email marketing. So in email marketing, gaining high open rates and click-through rates will result in more website visitors and sales. Okay. In theory, that's what's supposed to happen. We get more opens, we get more people to click. We get more people to click, we're going to get more people to purchase. Okay? But it's not as easy as it sounds. So how do we make that possible? Well, we're going to do that via A/B testing. I've already mentioned it when I set up my example campaign in MailChimp. I stressed that we need to have 2 subject lines go out per email. Okay. So before I stress that again, let me just reiterate what A/B testing is. And A/B testing is a method to analyze which of the 2 email campaign strategies is most effective in terms of high open rates and click rates. Okay. So in this case, in A/B testing, you can send out 2 emails. You can send out 2 subject lines. You can send out 2 call to actions. You're just really what you're doing is you're testing one against the other. That's what A/B testing is. And so in my example, I talked about that subject line. So for better results, A/B testing can be done with the subject line. It can also be done with the email content. So the subject line impacts the open rate. Okay, so I wrote a subject line. I don't even know how that subject line is going to perform. But if I write a second subject line, then I'll be able to basically give myself a better chance of getting a better open rate because I'm offering up 2 different subject lines. Likewise for email content. So the subject line and email content are the most important elements. So we want to be able to test them. If they're interesting, intriguing, attention grabbing, then it's gonna, in the case of subject lines, result in open rates. If the content itself is interesting, engaging, a good offer, good call to action, then the click rates are going to be increased. So we want to be able to serve up variations for our audience. So we want to consider an example of an A/B test where Linda has set up 2 variations of the email campaign as an example. So she's going to send 2 different subject lines to test which one generates more open rates, because that's what subject line A/B testing is going to do. One of them is going to have a higher open rate. Okay? So in our example here, Linda sends version A of the email to 50% of the recipients with the subject line, 3 important strategies to increase your open rate. Well, version B, which is sent to the other 50%, has the subject line, 3 important strategies to increase your open rate. So the only difference here is 3 and 3, the number 3 spelled out. Well, because she sent out 2 different subject lines, she's going to now be able to measure the success of that A/B test. Okay? And it just so happens version A has a higher open rate. Numbers always tend to work in subject lines, by the way. So Linda sends version A of the email to 50% of the recipients. Okay? $80 today, but $90 tomorrow. And version B to the remaining 50%. $80 today, $90 tomorrow. And the only really succinct difference here is using the word but versus a comma. And she sent that email out, and that email went out, and the data is coming in, and she's going to measure the success of that A/B test. Well, version B has the higher open rate. You know, we want to be short, succinct, and stay away from those conjugations like but. Okay? It tends to have a negative connotation. So the shorter, more direct email or subject line, $80 today, $90 tomorrow, not so passive, more direct, and that tend to have the higher open rate. So you always want to test those subject lines to generate high open rates. Another example here. Version A again gets 50% with the subject line, uh-oh, your prescription is expiring. Version B, your prescription is expiring. You folks listening to this webinar right now, wonder which one you think will perform. Go ahead and put your comments right below this video. I'm curious what version of the subject line you would open. So let's go ahead and measure the success of the A/B test. Okay, so she sent the email out, 2 different subject lines. 50% got one subject line, the other 50% got the other subject line. And it just so happens version A. Uh-oh, your prescription is expiring. There's a little bit of a, personalization to that. For me, your prescription is expiring seems to be a little bit more, commandish. Hey, your prescription's expiring, so we expect you to purchase. Where you have the little uh-oh in front, it's like, hey, I think your prescription's expiring. Maybe you should think about renewing it, okay? I think that's how that's interpreted. At least that's how I interpret it. So I would probably go ahead and click on that email with that subject line. So you could see subtle differences in the subject lines make a big difference in open rates. So in order to keep improving those open rates, you need to continue, and not continue, you should always do subject line testing. Always. Because one subject line is always going to have a better open rate than the other. So always do A/B testing when it comes to subject lines and email content for that matter. Okay. So we're always going to do continuous A/B testing. So with continuous A/B testing, we can test various elements of the email campaign. So you can always test the sender's name, the subject line, the copy, the call to action, the design, the imagery. There's a lot of different elements you can test with emails. For example, sender's name. Okay, so you want to personalize it as much as you can. Okay, you don't want to do a no reply. You want it to come from a human being. In this case, Sam. Okay, at least that's what I think. Let's see what the test states. No surprise, version A has the higher open rate. If you customize these things and personalize them, then it goes a long way. Sending an email from a no reply is not a good best practice. Let's talk about the subject line again. So we got webinar, increase your email open rates. Webinar, increase your email open rates. So the webinar is dynamic on version A. Okay, so we're sending that out. And because it's dynamic, that's going to, beat out the static. webinar, increase your email open rates. A lot more elements we can test here. So for example, the email copy. So learn some easy ways to increase your email open rates. Join us on May 10th, 2019, 7 p.m. for an interactive discussion with our experts. Well, version B is more personalized. It's the same message, but we're actually addressing someone specific, in this case, Rachel. So we can measure the success of the A/B test, but it's no surprise that anything that's customized, that comes from somebody, a name, with a dynamic email subject line, is going to perform better. It's going to increase open rates, and it's going to increase click rates. So we can also test that call to action. The difference here is coloring. Save my seat yellow versus save my seat blue. Again, go ahead and play along here. If you're watching this, go ahead and add a comment and just see if you're right. Do you think it's blue or you think it's yellow on the call to action? Color does go a long way in email marketing. So let's measure the success of this A/B test, and it just so happens yellow is going to perform better. Why does yellow perform better than blue? Well, it's more positive. Plus, it kind of resonates a little bit stronger and easier. Okay, it stands out a little bit better. It's not as pastel-y and dull as this shade of blue we're using. So you can see here, we're testing every bit of the elements of the email. Anything from the from, to the subject line, to the message, to the call to action. And so at the end of the day, you want to be able to send out the best email that's going to give you the best results. So we're going to send that out, the entirety of the email, and we could see version A looks a lot better. And why does version A look a lot better in this example? Because look at the font size is a little bit bigger. Version B, font size smaller, harder to read. That's another thing you can test. Larger fonts tend to do a little bit better. Now you don't want to go overboard and have them, 48 points or 50 points or plus. 14 versus 12 goes a long way. We can continue testing. We can test imagery. You can see here we have a hand aligned with the call to action. They just look different. That's all. Version A has one type of hand. Version B has the other type of hand aligned with the call to action. Let's go ahead and send out that test and see what works. Well, version B works. Why? The hand stands out a little bit more clear. It doesn't blend in with the call to action. So you can see we're testing different elements here, and we're always improving and adding to what's working. So we started out with a no reply versus somebody's name. Then we moved to a subject line. Then we moved to personalization. Then we moved to call to action. Then we moved to an increased font, meaning the design. And then we're adding imagery. So we're constantly improving the email with each test. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where the email is going to be good, and you're going to just continue to test different options on it to continue to increase open rates, click rates, and response rates. Final output looks like this. Again, that personalized email response from Sam versus no reply. We got a nice dynamic subject line. We got a personalized email to Rachel with larger font. Okay, we got a nice call to action that stands out with a nice image to accompany that. So we've tested all these different elements. This is the best combination based on everything we tested. So when we get that email to go, this is what it's going to look like in the future. But guess what? We're not going to stop testing. So we can continue to test those subject lines, continue to test the messaging, continue to test the email design, continue to test different call to actions, continue to test different images. You're never going to stop testing with email marketing. Okay, so let's switch over to how to optimize the subject line. Subject line is such a key component to email marketing. So as we showed you in the last segment, we tested a subject line and we used a number. The number 3 versus 3 spelled out. It just so happens that numbers tend to do a little bit better. They're shorter, easier to read, and they resonate better. So include a number in your subject line. You can include an emoji in your subject line. Your emails come a long way. Emojis aren't just social media based. You can use emojis in subject lines. I'd highly recommend it. I just sent out an email last month with a subject line about spring showers bring May flowers. And guess what emoji I had in that subject line? A flower. Okay, may sound cheesy, but it goes a long way. So according to Experian, subject lines with emojis can increase open rates by 45%. People resonate with emojis, especially if they're positive emojis. Okay, so we want to personalize those subject lines for better open rate. Okay, when I say personalize, don't be so stale. Remember that subject line we tested, uh-oh? Just putting uh-oh in there made it sound like we actually cared. It was a little bit personal. It wasn't so personal, we weren't addressing a specific person, but one little word goes a long way in a subject line. Because when people get emails and they read emails, and a lot of people are inundated with emails, the subject line is what they're reading first. And just by personalizing it, adding a number, adding an emoji, and just making it positive and easier to read, they're likely to open that email. So personalized email messages can improve click-through rate and open rates as well. So you want to personalize your email as much as you can, whether that be from the from field to putting that person's name in the salutation. So personalized subject lines have been found to increase open rates by up to 50%. So don't come across as spammy, come across as you know who your audience is and you're talking to them. And then you will want to prefer title case subject lines. So title case subject lines. For example, when I say title case, Game of Thrones is my favorite show. Every initial letter in that title is capitalized. Okay, you can go with the sentence case. Game of Thrones is my favorite show. It doesn't stand out as much. Of course, if you go with lowercase, it definitely doesn't stand out. It looks illiterate, and somebody's probably not going to open it. So you always go with that title case. Every initial letter gets capitalized. So how to optimize that subject line? Well, watch the length of your subject line. You want to be conscious of character counts. So 17 to 24 characters. You want to keep it short, succinct, and to the point, but personalized with an emoji, with initial caps on each word to make it stand out. But you have to do that within 17 and 24 characters. So according to Campaign Monitor, the ideal length of a subject line is up to 24 characters, and they're more likely to boost those email rates. Okay, so keep it short, but make it impactful, make it personalized like I mentioned before. If you get too long, then it may get cut off and it may not have the same impact as something shorter. So that's why we always recommend keeping it up to about 24 characters. Okay, if you go over by a couple characters, not the end of the world, but try and stay within that range. Develop a sense of urgency. Okay, so when we say sense of urgency, we mean sense of urgency, meaning if that coupon's going to expire, you want to let people know it's going to expire that day or the next day or within a few days. Okay, so you can use things like hurry up or limited offer or limited stock or offer expires on. Okay, so add a bit of sense of urgency. I mean, the sky's not falling here, but if that coupon's expiring at the end of the week, you probably want to mention something to the effect of, hey, offer's expiring, or hurry up. So let's talk about optimizing your email content. So we focused a lot on subject lines. Let's talk about the email content itself. So some ways to optimize email content are, we want to send the content that is relevant to customer expectations. So content needs to match that expectation. We want to use bullet points to make the content readable. We want to follow logical structure. We want to use compelling imagery, and prefer design emails with responsive designs. And what we mean by responsive design is, hey, most people are going to be checking that email on their mobile phone. Okay, so make sure when you design the email, it's also going to be good, not just on desktop, but on tablet and mobile as well. And then of course, this goes without saying, but avoid grammatical mistakes. Go ahead and spell check it. And that's why we put an emphasis on testing your email before you actually send it. And when you actually send an email, test email, don't send it to yourself. Send it to colleagues, send it to another group, a fresh set of eyes that is going to be able to pick out that misspelled word that you overlooked. So I can't stress the sending of the test email because it's going to be able to, in a way, ensure that you're doing everything on this list. In addition to grammatical mistakes, the person who's receiving your test email, your colleague at work, may be looking at that email on their mobile phone. And if it doesn't look good to them, they're going to let you know. Some other ways to optimize email content: personalization. So we did that on the A/B testing. You always want to personalize it. Question is, hey, do I use first name? Do I use first and last name? Well, guess what? You can test that, but you want to personalize it. Okay, you want to choose the right fonts and colors for your email. So when we were going through some examples on testing, I always tend to go a little bit larger on the font, but you could play around with it. I don't think you should probably use white lettering on a black background. That just is not very good or best practice, but go ahead and try it if you want. Okay, you can always play around and test these, but you want to choose something that's really going to resonate with the recipient of the email. Okay, you want to build a rapport with customers by sharing insights they value. For example, the beginning of this webinar, we talked about advocacy. We talked about, sharing with them some of the nonprofits that we work with as a company. Okay, if we have a cosmetics company and we have different products like moisturizers and facial creams, we may want to state that, hey, we don't use any animals in the testing of these products. We're pro-animal. We're not going to use animals in the testing of our products. And that probably resonates with a lot of your customers. So you want to go ahead and build a rapport with those customers by sharing those insights. Okay? And use recipient names. And you always want to personalize it. And then add a clear call to action at the end. You always want to have that call to action, regardless of what the email is. Hey, it could be just a simple read more, or hey, donate. It doesn't have to always be so hardcore in terms of, hey, purchase our product. That could be a turnoff, especially if you're sending emails out once a week to your customer base. If you're constantly hammering them with buy now, buy now, buy now, they're going to get turned off. So you want to mix up the call to actions. And that goes back to the very first step. And what kind of email are you going to send out and who are you going to send it to? So you have to align those two. If it's somebody who doesn't even know who your brand is, you're not going to put a call to action of buy now. You're probably going to say, hey, check us out. We have some cool stuff for you. Okay, let's talk about automating emails. Email automation. So triggered emails are sent to customers based on an event, date, or user behavior. Okay, so when we say an event, it could be a special occasion like Mother's Day. Okay, it could be a date like a birthday or anniversary or a specific day of the week. It can also be based on user behavior. A good example of user behavior are those who abandon the cart. You can trigger an email. In fact, MailChimp has remarketing functionality. So with MailChimp, hey, if somebody abandons our cart, we can have an email triggered. And we could send an email, a nice email that says, hey, we noticed you didn't finish purchasing our product. And I'm not sure what happened, but hey, here's another 10% off. Or you can always just make product recommendations as well. But you want to react to user behavior and use emails to your advantage for that. So you want to be cognizant of different occasions. You want to be cognizant of special events, holidays, etc., and user behavior. So these types of emails can be automated because you know when they might happen or that they are probably going to happen. So autoresponder emails are sent at frequent intervals based on the behavior of subscribers. So for example, if somebody purchases something, then you're going to get an email that probably says, hey, thank you for your purchase. Another email that says, hey, your product's on its way. And then another email that says, hey, your package or product has been delivered. So that's an example of an automated email that goes out. If somebody purchases your product, you probably want to thank them for that. And then you probably want to let them know that, hey, it's on its way. Here, you could track it. And then again, you want to confirm that it's been delivered, but thank them again. So that's an example of an automated email that goes out. Okay, let's talk about types of email campaigns. So we have different types of email campaigns. And the first is a newsletter. So with email newsletters, subscribers are connected and informed about product updates. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a product they buy. It could be a product they subscribe to, like software. Okay, you always want to be able to send out that newsletter to let them know what's going on with your product. Are there upcoming product updates ahead? Is there one that just happened? Is there a webinar that discusses the new product update? So that's what the newsletter is going to do, inform the end user about the update. So how to optimize. Okay, so you stack your email content, create a compelling header, share different variety of useful content like videos, articles, etc. with those recipients, and then follow a consistent schedule. So that's how you handle a newsletter. You should always create a compelling header, but if you're going to send out a newsletter, make sure you support it with some good information, like a video that they can go watch, or an article that will follow up on what you put in the email, or promoting that webinar that's going to talk about that product update. Okay, so example here is a newsletter that gets sent out, and here you can see it talks about business process. It's got some nice imagery in there. Okay, call to action. It's got a little bit of everything in this email template. Okay, and that's when we talk about stack your email content, that's what you talk about stacking. You can see at the top, it's got work with the industry best. Subscribe now. Okay, they validate that with 25 years of top-notch service. Then they talk about hiring the best talent. Then you got the next bit of content below that. So that's stacked email content. Okay, that's going to be supported by a compelling header. And then they're going to share a variety of different content in there. Like there could be clicks in there to videos and articles. Moving on from newsletters to promotional emails. So we want to be able to drive revenue by sending special offers through promotional email. Okay, so how do we optimize a promotional email? Well, we want to personalize the campaign. Okay, promotional, we want to definitely personalize it. Include time-sensitive offers. We want to get people to react. Okay, so that means, adding a sense of urgency in the title and the subject line. Okay, you can send offer emails on holidays. If it's Mother's Day, hey, send it a couple days before or even send it on. If it's personalized, then you can say, hey, so-and-so, we know you're a mother. Here, take 20% off. I mean, that kind of personalized email with an offer goes a long way. Here an example from Tom's. Limited time, extra 20% off all styles. They include the code in there. Okay, again, you can see the sensitivity and the sense of urgency with the limited time. Another email campaign type, and personally one of my favorites, is abandoned cart. So abandoned cart emails. I like working with abandoned cart emails because, we want people to purchase. And as much as you try on your email marketing campaign to drive traffic to the website, and as hard as the website works to get people to convert through the shopping cart, it's never going to be 100%. And so abandoned cart emails give us that extra incentive to get that person back to the shopping cart to purchase. Okay, so these emails are shared with customers who have added product to their cart but didn't finish through the checkout process. In other words, they didn't purchase the product. So it's an effective way of sales recovery. It gives us another opportunity to reach out to that person who just is almost there but not quite ready to finish the purchase. So what are we going to do? We're going to send out an email for those that abandon their cart. And we're going to use a simple abandoned cart email template. Okay, you want to be simple here. You don't want to get complicated. We're trying to make this easy for them to finish purchasing the product. So we want to definitely personalize it. Okay, we want to send a series of email reminders. Okay, in your email reminder, add a product image. So as customized as it can be, it could be even the product image of what they've abandoned, and that's the best practice. So if it's that facial moisturizer that Linda's trying to promote and she can't quite get enough people to finish purchasing the product, they're abandoning the cart, well, she can certainly send out the abandoned cart email. Okay, so for example, you want to personalize it. Hey, you forgot to complete your order. You left something in your cart. Can we help? Email 2. Hi there, so-and-so. Items in your shopping cart are selling out quickly. It's a gentle reminder. Okay, so come across a little bit different here. Okay, email 3. Hey, so-and-so, 20% off on your cart. Valid until so-and-so. Offer on your favorite product. So the first email that went out in the series of emails, it's, hey, you forgot something. Hey, is there anything we can do to help you complete the product purchase? Email 2 is just that gentle reminder. Hey, we're selling out quickly. You might want to purchase that product. And email 3 is to really help them along by saying, hey, Here's 20% off, valid until so-and-so. So just a small series of emails that go out, try and get somebody back into the shopping cart. Okay, let's talk about re-engagement campaign. So in a re-engagement campaign, it's a series of emails sent to inactive email subscribers. So what it does is it boosts engagement and helps to maintain a high inbox placement ratio. Inbox placement ratio. So we want to be able to make sure that we're getting people back on our subscriber list. So how are we going to optimize for something like this? These are difficult type of email campaigns. We're trying to re-engage with people who are inactive. So we want gamification to re-engage subscribers, or we want to prefer subject lines like, hey, we've been missing you, or did we do something wrong? Okay, we can run a poll or competition to re-engage with our subscribers. So for example, hey, we'd hate to miss your birthday. Go ahead and update your account. This is a Starbucks email. So we'd hate to miss your birthday. So it's that, message of missing you. You can always soften or sweeten the deal with an offer as well. So that brings us to how to engage with new subscribers. So we just talked about re-engaging with inactive. We want to talk about engaging with new subscribers. So how to engage with new subscribers? Well, thank your subscribers for joining. Okay, create clear and compelling subject lines. That is a must regardless of what type of email you send out. You always want to send out that compelling subject line. Okay, notice the good examples within 17 to 24 characters. Know the ideal time to message. Okay, again, sending it out on the weekend's not going to work. Okay, sending it out during the weekday, in the morning, mid-morning, sometimes in the afternoon works. It really depends on who your audience is. But weekends probably aren't going to work. Okay, avoid the no reply sender name. Again, personalize it. You're either Sam or Rob or so-and-so, Sally. Let them know that the email's coming from a real person, okay? Because if it doesn't come from a real person, most people aren't going to respond. Okay, we want to let our subscribers know the privacy policy. So we want to let them know that we abide by a privacy policy. Okay, that's getting straight with people who are new. They don't know your brand. They don't know your privacy policy. They don't want to get spammed, in other words. So putting that out there makes you more transparent and trustworthy. Okay, and again, personalization, always personalize. If it's new, if it's inactive, repeat customers, loyal customers, lifetime customers, you should always personalize. And you should always be courteous and always thank them. And then prefer attractive email designs. Okay, work with something that's going to be eye-catchy. And then most important is include an unsubscribe link. I can't tell you how annoying it is to get an email and not have the unsubscribe link there. That makes me want to unsubscribe. Even if it was a good email, I still look for that because maybe they're a good company, but they're spamming me. They're sending me too many emails. So maybe I want to unsubscribe or change my subscription. So you always want to include that unsubscribe link. In fact, in the United States, it's actually law. So there is regulation around that. So you need to include an unsubscribe link. It's just common courtesy, if anything. So it bodes well. Okay, of course you don't want people to unsubscribe, but you don't want them to get annoyed either. Okay, let's talk about email marketing tools. So we talked about MailChimp. So there are plenty of email marketing platforms out there. I use MailChimp. I've used a few in the past, like Marketo. I've used Zoho, Vertical Response. So there are a lot of different tools out there. Here, some of them, again, MailChimp, Marketo. Marketo is a marketing automation tool or system, and Marketo is good for sending those automated emails. HubSpot, ConvertKit, Sendinblue, Aweber. I mean, these are just some of the many that are out there. Okay, so let's show a demo again of an email marketing campaign. So let's show an example of a newsletter that one of my clients had sent out. And so this is Paul Ekman Group. Paul Ekman, Dr. Ekman inspired the TV show Lie to Me. So well known in the industry of micro expressions. He's the aforementioned expert in micro expressions, and he sends out email marketing campaigns. And he sends out a monthly newsletter. So this is a newsletter that was sent out in November 2018. And if we look at it, you can see here, okay, it's stacked content, nice imagery, okay, respectful disagreements, how to deal with disagreements this holiday season. So really relevant, personalized, and timely because it was set in November during the holiday season. So got some nice imagery there. Okay, we got content in here. And then right below that on the stack content, what do we have? Final hour, 24 hours, 25% off. So that sense of urgency built into the email. Then here you go. You have some other content in there based on the face of contempt. Okay, just an example of a micro expression. And then right below that, what do we see? We see a call to action. Learn how to use micro expressions to your advantage. So call to action here. Then we have some more information here with the learn more. So a newsletter that went out, basically a blog post built into the email with some nice content, reminding folks, hey, they have 24 hours, got some other useful information in the email. So this email went out, very timely, 98,000, okay. See subject line here, controversy, respectful disagreements, and Thanksgiving, okay. Could the subject line be a little bit shorter? Yes, possibly, but if we look at the open rate, 15%, 16% open rate, okay. Industry average in education and training is 18%, okay. So they're close to the industry average. On the click rate, 1.6% on the click rate, industry average 2.1. So we can see what the top links were clicked. Okay, so they have a lot of links, and MailChimp will help you measure what links were clicked the most. Who subscribed, what subscriber with the most opens. We can see opens by country. But that's an example of a newsletter for this particular company. Okay, stacked content, okay, sense of urgency, okay, you can see the subject line, timely newsletter. So this is I think a good example of an email for the time of year. Okay, so let's go over the checklist again for email marketing. So good reminders on the checklist. This is a checklist. You want to make sure all boxes are checked. You want to create interesting subject lines as they boost your open rates. Direct correlation with open rates is subject line. Okay, you want to keep your content relevant and consistent with your brand. You want to check the sender name. Okay, so you want to make sure not only is it personalized, but the name aligns with the email address. Okay, you should always personalize. Always personalize the subject line and the email copy text. Meaning, don't just say hello to Sally, Pete, Rob, Michael, etc. Always include an unsubscribe link in emails. Okay, give people the option to unsubscribe. Okay, you can always re-engage them another way or later on, but you don't want to irk any one of your potential customers. Use A/B testing. We talked about A/B testing in the webinar. There's lots of different elements we can test, from subject line to content to font to call to action to imagery to subject line, etc. There's no shortage of elements in an email you can test. You want to use welcome emails to build good customer relationships. So when somebody signs up for a newsletter, send out a welcome email to them. Hey, welcome. Thank you for signing up. You should always segment your list based on user behavior. So you have a group of people who purchase product A, customize your email for product A, but you can mention product B and C in there, but know who your audience is so you can talk to your audience. Okay? And you can always ask your subscribers to update their preferences as well, because you want to make sure you're sending out emails to the right person, right address. Okay, so this is a short checklist. Now we can expand upon this, but these are some of the most of the key items when it comes to email marketing. Some other items on the checklist include features such as countdown timers and live polls. Okay, make it interactive. Okay, choose the right email frequency. Don't be sending emails 3 or 4 times a week. Once a week is probably as much as you want to go, depending on what it is. If somebody purchases something, then you probably want to send an email thanking them for the purchase, another one letting you know the product has been shipped, and another one with thank you, the product has been received. Reward those subscribers. Send out exclusive offers. Okay, make sure your emails are optimized for mobile. That means send out test emails and check it on different devices. Okay? Create a schedule. Okay? You can automate these emails, so create a schedule that makes the most sense. Have a footer and a header in the email, and in that footer and header is going to be some information. Okay? Just like I showed you with the microexpressions, there was a footer and header. Avoid spam filters. Okay? How do you avoid spam filters? Well, apply best practices. Okay? Don't have spammy subject lines. Have an actual name associated with the reply to email, and split up your list as well. When you send out one email to 150,000 people, it could probably get caught up in some spam. So segment out your audiences. Keep your audience list short so that your messaging can be specific to the audience. That's going to help avoid spam. And then, of course, you always want to measure and analyze results. So remember, a lot of these email marketing platforms have the results built in, especially open rates and click rates. Some key takeaways from today's webinar. We talked about what is email marketing. So email marketing really is an effective way to really get a good message out to a target audience. There are plenty of benefits. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do email marketing. Okay? You can do it in real time. It doesn't take a lot of time. Okay? And you can get some ROI out of it. We also talked about A/B testing. That's a very key component to email marketing. If you're going to do email marketing, at the very least, test those subject lines. But there's so many different elements you can test. Okay, we talked about the types of different email campaigns, from newsletter to promotional, abandonment cart to re-engagement, re-engaging those inactive users. So each type of email campaign is going to contain a different way to talk to them. Okay, how to engage with new users. Okay, so we went over a best practices list for engaging with new users, some of which means in personalizing. Okay, you always use an attractive email. You want to come across the very first time with the right way. Always, always, always create a clear and compelling subject line. If it's a new or returning recipient, you always want a clear and compelling subject line. And then there's plenty of email marketing tools. You know, I showed you MailChimp. MailChimp has some really good features in it. If I go back to MailChimp again, just to drive home the point, okay, so you can look at really specific data per email. It has reporting built in. It has all these nice little templates built in. So you can create a template, okay, you can leverage a template, okay, there's lots of templates you can use. You even have a content studio. So it has a lot of features built into the platform. This is just MailChimp. I mean, Marketo and HubSpot and Aweber and all these other platforms do very similar things. You just have to pick the one that works for you the best. So I want to thank you for attending today's webinar on email marketing. If you need any more information, please visit Simplilearn.com. If you have anything to add, certainly go ahead and comment below this video. We'd love to get your comments on this subject, and of course we'll respond accordingly. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you on future webinars.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.